Welcome. So I'm going to show you my example of my reading journal for my first day. So by the end of the day, well, really the end of my reading, this is what my journal looked like. But before I started reading, I just wrote my title. That's all I wrote. So Ball Don't Lie by Matt De La Pena. So once I had that written down, all I did was get a sticky note. And I went ahead and I timed myself to see how long I read. And before I had to stop for a lesson, I read for about 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, these are the notes I took down. I took down the pages, what I'm focusing on, and random details about the character. For example, he had headphones nonstop. He was planning to buy a bear, like a teddy bear, but he's planning to steal a gold bracelet. I'm noticing he had OCD tendencies, and I gave an example on what page. See, what else did I write down? A lot of stuff he would repeat and wouldn't stop of it. He would practice in the rain. He would play with his coins nonstop. And I just wrote down what time I read. So those are just the notes I took while I was reading. But then after that, the first thing I did was I wrote about the main character. So the main character's name is Sticky. And I just kind of wrote facts about the character. That, like, he's great at basketball, he's a foster kid, he had to beg for money on the street pretty much that week, and he's planning to steal a gold bracelet to buy but he's planning to pay for a teddy bear from an old lady. So those are the notes I took. I also made a quick little timeline, because the chapters that I read was like the first 3 chapters, had a lot of flashbacks. So I pretty much just wrote now. I wasn't sure how old he was, so I just wrote teen and late teen, because I'm thinking he's like maybe a senior in high school. And I know that he's living with a foster family, and they seem poor because he describes his coffee table as garage sale coffee table. And then it said a few years back, so maybe middle school, they go into a story about how he's still with the foster family, goes to the park with a friend, and he doesn't stop playing ball to the point where his friend's mom is honking at him to stop playing in the rain and will stop playing basketball in the rain. And then at one point, it tells me what happened when he was 6. His mom, who he calls baby for some reason, dressed him in dirt and rags to collect coins by the road, because it said old white ladies love giving money to helpless kids. So he collects coins by the road and he plays with the coins nonstop. And he describes himself as hurting, like physically, when his mom tells him to stop playing with the coins. So these are the facts that I took from the story. I also wrote down quotes that seemed important to me. Notice how I'm not sure if they're important. I just made notes of these quotes and they stood out to me. Most regulars swear they make room for their squad. There's still the thought in the back of his head that he might not be picked up. So this is talking about how he's nervous that the people he's playing basketball with won't pick him up, because even though he's a good basketball player, he's white, and everyone else at the gym he is at isn't, and he doesn't feel like he quite fits in all the time. There's also another quote that I found interesting. I would never steal from an old lady's card shop. He got morals about things like that. These are both talking about the main character. So once I kind of have my facts down, I went ahead and just kind of wrote down my thoughts on all this information that I had. So I just kind of wrote reflection and thoughts, made a little cute bubble, because that's pretty much only the cute thing I did here. So he sees himself above stealing from good people, but does not care about the rich. At least that's my impression about him. That's what I infer about him. Because he won't steal from the old lady, but he's like, yeah, I'm going to steal a $100 gold watch from a jewelry store. Who cares? And then it goes back to being worried about not being picked for the basketball because he's white and most people he plays with aren't. He's also very young compared to all the adults that he plays basketball with. I also found it interesting that the author included the detail that he only has $12. because to me, that's not a lot of money. But to Sticky, the main character, he mentioned that he was afraid someone might steal it. And that was the $12 he was going to use to buy the teddy bear. He's also constantly redoing things, which makes me think that he has OCD. On page 14, it literally said spit period wipe period 6 times on one page. Not exactly in order, but they were like hidden throughout the page. I thought that was very interesting. And it also goes back to the coins, him constantly playing in the rain. Like he wouldn't stop until it feels perfect. So I compared it to like when you turn on a light switch on and off until it feels just right. And I've heard about that through YouTube videos. I don't really know anybody who is OCD, but so he even describes actions, feelings like just right. Anything he does, he wants it to feel just right. So he also keeps his headphone on 90% of the day, which maybe makes me think he might be a little bit antisocial. So these are just the thoughts I'm working on right now. Tonight I'm probably going to read more because I want to keep on reading. I only got to probably about page 19 in the 20 minutes that I read. Along with the title and the author, I included how long I read and the date. I wrote down my facts, wrote down my thoughts. So feel free to try that yourself.